It's a good lead-in talking about the business of sports because we were talking about in the open and obviously have all week. You were in Orlando, the business of baseball and how a lot of times people expect big moves to take place at the meetings. And what has transpired and really doing 17 of them over the years, it's gotten worse and worse in terms of lack of amount of deals that actually happen at the meetings and the conversations that begin. And we're already seeing that come into play. And it just so happens the Braves are the big winners in day one because Suarez is a guy, despite whatever the age is, 34, been around 4 years, goes to the post. You can pitch him back-to-back days. He's got experience as a setup guy and now as a closer. We say 40 games last year, an all-star, and getting him at $15 million a year, which is what the average is over 3 years, is a coup for Alex Anthopoulos.
It's $68 million in the last day and a half that they spent with Yastrzemski, who might work that four-man outfield rotation that includes the DH spot, but really the back end of the bullpen. So you're going to be spending $31 million this year, roughly. Actually, I'm sorry. What's the 2026 number for Suarez?
Let's see. 2026. I had it here. Hold on a second.
Because it's $16 million for Iglesias. It's a one-year deal.
Yeah, so Suarez is 13 for 2026, okay. 16 for 27-28.
All right, so it's $29 million. I got the back end of my bullpen, at least on paper, on December, whatever it is.
That's right.
I've got it covered. And if there was a day that Iglesias says, oh, it's him today or it's me today, you have a little bit of that mix and match. Suarez is your closer, but I also like the idea that Brian Snitker said something about Raisel Iglesias a couple of years ago that I have. It's not easily dismissed. Guy's been around baseball for 50 years, Brian Snitker. He said, I've never seen a guy who will never tell you he can't go. Now, we've had to sit him down some nights, and quite honestly, we pitched him on some nights where he shouldn't have been going, but we needed him to, and he was never going to say no. Well, now maybe there's the ability at his age on a one-year deal to mix and match a little bit. Not because of talent, who you're facing, although there'll be some paperwork that says Suarez might pitch not only selection but pitchability compared to Raisel Iglesias. You could actually 3-4-5 for the Phillies is going to be different than 3-4-5 for the Marlins. What makes more sense tonight if both are available and it doesn't affect what perhaps will happen the next night? You have flexibility for $29 million at the back end of your bullpen that really makes you feel comfortable with the back end of your bullpen.
Ryan Rollison, the name, which will go in a hat somewhere for those who are not aware who he is, a reliever on the Braves roster. He's designated for assignment. That's the corresponding move on the 40-man to get Robert Suarez in. So now you have worked at depth. Is the Braves fan doesn't need to be told this with the amount of injuries you've seen over the last couple of years. But depth is the way that you win in this business.
I'll give you another thing.
I mean, it is the most important thing.
You have two guys, as we like to say, they're going to make the team. Like, they're going to make the team.
Yeah, of course.
All right. But that also means that maybe one of the guys who was out of options that you were maybe going to put to the bullpen, there's one less spot in the bullpen.
That's right.
You only get 13. You know, this whole idea of what it is. And so if you want to do a roster makeup, if a DH does nothing but DH, that's a roster spot that's used differently than you will with Mike Yastrzemski or if Eli White was going to be the one. So there's a way that you construct this, but you can only have 13 pitchers. If you wanted to do a six-man rotation, it gets hard because now all of a sudden the numbers crunch you. If you're allowed to have 14, I can live with one outfielder. I can live with one utility infielder. But they don't let you have 14. So somebody who, in all honesty, might have gotten a bullpen job because their options were out. Maybe has been a starter, but they were going to put him in a bullpen. There's one less job to be had in a bullpen. It's not about who gets released off the 40-man today. It's about there's one less chair, one less room in the inn for somebody who thought they could break camp as a guy in the bullpen for the Atlanta Braves. Whether it was a mop-up guy, whether it was a sixth-inning guy or a seventh-inning guy, you've got 8 and 9 covered right now.
Yeah, we saw you go back to 2 years ago where they ended the season. I'll give an example with like a Grant Holmes, who was kind of your Mr. Do-Everything, and then they had to lose that out of the bullpen last year going into the season, right, and push him into the rotation. They had a lot of guys to rob Peter to pay Paul.
And Waldrop
now they don't have to do that.
Waldrop is a guy who has options.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to not have him in my starting 5 if he's one of the best 5, but there is an option consideration. The other consideration was keep them all stretched out, as many as you can. A couple of them are going to end up in the bullpen. I'm just telling you now, there's one less seat in the bullpen. This is a seat taken in the bullpen. So somebody now is going to have to prove their worth. Competition coming in spring training just got ratcheted up a little bit as well.
If you're a Braves fan, your thoughts on bringing in Robert Suarez. Maybe the name doesn't blow you away, but if not, you should go pay attention because this is a guy who's been a dynamic closer, pretty much a rubber arm. And with he and Iglesias, now you've got a tag team to be reckoned with, 404-231-1680. So now you've got Yaz in. Mike Yastrzemski comes in again. Depth, which has been an issue in their outfield the last couple of years. Every time you think it's not, then all of a sudden there it is, like a wart that is being shown. Now he can go ahead, add to that group, 3 outfielders in DH, get everybody off their legs. You go and you add Suarez to the back end of the bullpen. The question would be, what's next? The rotation needs help. And I think, to me, it needs stability. It needs a guy who you know what you're getting as much as you can know what you're getting. So I don't care if the ERA is 3.1 or if it's 3.8. So if I get somebody every 5 days who I know can post, give me 200 innings, that's, to me, what you need. Need that.
Ranger Suarez.
Yes.
Zach Gallen.
Framber Valdez.
Yes. Multiple years, bigger money.
Yes.
Lucas Giolito, and I'm going to give you a name, and I'm not telling you I'm what have I told you, Justin Verlander, at $12 million? With an expectation of, I'm paying him $12 million.
I just don't. In general, it wouldn't bother me.
By the way, I'm not sentimental.
No, I get it.
Like, I am not, this is not, let's bring in the Hall of Famer.
No, I get that.
I don't need Yoda.
No, I get that.
I'd love to have him around.
You want some semblance of help on the mound, help with the staff, and give me whatever you got left, right?
Yes.
$12 million is not a lot of money.
Yes.
I think it's possible. My problem that I would have with it is I think there are certain teams where you have more stability at the front end with innings, where I know what I'm getting, where now I can go ahead, take a flyer on Verlander, and, if it doesn't work out, it's only $12 million. The Braves, to your point, right, you take up a spot in the bullpen. Verlander he's not an if. He's a take-up-the-spot guy.
He's not
coming in to make a team, right? So if he's a take-up-the-spot guy, now I've got how many spots in the rotation where my fingers and toesies are crossed that they could stay healthy?
Oh, no. I'm not telling you that he's...
Then I worry.
He's not a given. He would also be the perfect guy if you were ever going to use a 6-man rotation. But as we say, I got to go to Chris Sale. Are you comfortable? Like, you ask the top dog.
Oh, for sure.
Strider, I think, is maybe what are you comfortable with in terms of how do you want to work off days? Verlander's the perfect guy. And by the way, so is his staff. I got multiple guys coming off of injuries. I got a guy in Chris Sale that I want to stay up. This is the perfect staff to have 6. I just told you why it's tough because of the limited amount of arms, 13, whether that's limited or not, that's the number they give you, where it makes it difficult. My only point is if you're not going to shoot for the moon here, I can give you a Lucas Giolito or I can give you a Verlander. And would that be enough to say, I didn't solve the big picture, but I have an arm that if it goes well, I get a return on my investment. And if it doesn't, I just spent money on it. Because that's not a trade. I just spent money on it.
If you're a Braves fan, maybe not the days and the ticket items you thought if you were dreaming pipe dreams, but these are good dreams to live. These are realities. Yastrzemski helps. Suarez
Toronto
is big.
Wanted him. That's another team.
Mets wanted him. Cubs wanted him.
Right.
There's a reason he sought after. This is one of the best relievers out there in the market. Not Diaz. And we got him. 404-231-1680. Let's go to Charleston with Bill's on the line. Go ahead, Bill. Jump in. Big day for the Braves.
Yeah, well, big day. And, God, I don't want to, undercut it. And I tell you, I didn't have my expectations too high, of course. But so far, 2 good ones. And I'll say, Suarez, the 2 places I wanted to pick up was what we did right now in the pen. And just like Chris said or someone said a moment ago, we're getting guys that other people wanted, not like, the rehashes of the other one. But I'm telling you guys, I just wanted to pivot quick to shortstop because I still say, and I hope like the Yaz move and this move aren't really it. And I hope they're just a prerequisite to what's coming because I still think there's something out there. And I hopefully after all this gets settled down with Suarez, we can talk about Corey Seager because I think there's an opportunity there. I put together a nice trade that'll work perfectly. We got a shortstop in the system. But again, congrats on this move here. It's a good one, but I hope we got one more big one coming, and that's still addressing the need we have, and that's shortstop, because we cannot go into next season with another guy that hits 200 and has put in magic marker 9th in the batting order. Take care, guys.
You're not wrong. And Seager, I appreciate the call, Bill. Seager's a great name.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. Proven winner, clutch, Gene, to the no end.
Do you have enough?
If he's healthy.
We asked Alex last year, is there enough in the farm system? Because I don't know anything about a farm system. I think he thought for a second I was asking oh, you don't have enough. No, I was asking because I have no idea if you have enough.
Yep.
I don't know what it would take to get Corey Seager. I have no idea. To me, this again goes back to that. Ask me about a trade, and I'm going to tell you I don't know.
Depends how much Texas wants to unload the money.
Well, my talent for your talent, but now it's controllable years.
Money.
And it's who scouted in your clubhouse, in your building that said, no, it's not that pitcher. It's that pitcher that we want, a guy that we have never seen in the major leagues. And it's going to be a major league arm. And maybe they're going to ask for a Waldrop. Maybe they're going to ask for J.R. Ritchie down there. Maybe they're going to ask if Sean Murphy, you know what's funny? If Sean Murphy was healthy or Ozzie was coming off a little bit of a better year, I would have 2 trade chips possible. Doesn't mean I'm trading either one. Doesn't mean I want to. But I would have if Ozzie had a better year. He's still cheap enough. 2 for 14, 1 for 7, 2 for 14. You can move Ozzie. Murphy with the surgery becomes a little bit more difficult. And then the minor league arm or 2 that somebody's going to want for a big name, good player. I have no idea who you should get rid of.
Deals like Seager come down to, more often than not, if he's going to get moved, how much money is eaten, right? Mm-hmm. And how much money are you willing to take? He's owed $31 million in 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31.
Is it 180? 180
yeah,
and change?
It's 31 times 6. Yep. Yeah, a little bit over 180.
Okay.
My math is bad, but it's a little bit over 180.
That would be a really big contract.
That would be a really big piece of... So how much money... Now, as for people who don't, I know you know this, but the more prospects you give...
The less they eat. The
less you have to eat, right? So you can, to your point, let's say they're willing to say, okay, I price out Seager as a player I want, but I'm not going over $100 million. Well, if you want them to eat the rest of that money, which is 80 over 6 years, a lot of money, you're now given more prospects. What's the number you're willing to pay is the first question you got to answer yourself. 180 is a lot of money.
Yeah, he's still viable where I don't think they'd have to eat that much. But again, it does depend on what you're trading, what you're sending back,
right.
Both in contracts and in controllable years.
Yep.
And in let's call it perceived talent. If you told me you can get Seager and I had to give you what's in my minor league system, I'm not the general manager who has to worry about anything beyond this year or next year. I'm a fan. Prospects for parades come into play. If I'm shoring up my shortstop, and again, it feels like only money because what I traded, I don't know. I'm not emotionally attached to J.R. Ritchie. I'm not telling you he's the guy. Am I emotionally attached to Hurston Waldrop? No. As a matter of fact, his little performance up here makes him more valuable, so thank you for that. Getting called up and performing well means you're more viable or valuable to somebody else. Whether it's long-term value or not, I don't care because you're somebody else's property. But if I get something that I know can play and I get a postseason type guy, yeah. Look, if I told Braves fans they got Corey Seager tomorrow, right? It's Yastrzemski, it's Suarez, it's Seager tomorrow, or Bichette signs tomorrow. There's not a Braves fan who wouldn't say, happy holidays, everybody. God bless us, everyone. See you in Northport, because you would be done shopping.
Forget it. I mean, when he's right, he's the second best player on your team.
Right, that would be the 10-speed right next to the PlayStation.
Better than the 10-speed.
It would all add up.
With the woman, like, out there basically, like, showing it off to you on the doorstep. Not that you needed that because I know dates were easy. I'll take one more before the break. Here's Mike in Atlanta. Mike, thoughts of the Braves, Suarez in 3 years. What's your take? What do you got?
What's going on, guys? I'm a Braves fan from New York, so this has been the best 36 hours for me. Christmas came early, all right?
I hate you. Go ahead.
I'm watching MLB Network right now, and I could see Ron Darling's face. That's it for him.
I bet.
But listen, I would be all right with Dubon showing. Do I love it? No. But I feel like now a lot of pressure is on Ronaldo Lopez and Bryce Elder. Do I like Bryce Elder? No. But I feel like pitching is the bigger need right now for them.
You could do, Mike, I appreciate the call. There's no reason you can't do both. If you're telling me you don't get Bichette and instead you want to spend money on a pitcher, that's one thing. But Dubon, you're on the other end of the spectrum. There's nothing wrong with him. He's a helpful player. But, Chris, they have to find a way. To me, Seager's a big name. You can find a way through trade to get better at shortstop than you have because you're bottom feeding. I mean, you can get better than you got. The free agent landscape of shortstops are just, and then any year we've ever covered baseball, I've never seen a worse crop.
Well, remember this, though.
Outside of Bichette.
The guys who got paid big money haven't necessarily played up to the contracts at shortstop recently either. Fair. And we're done in that. The big high-ticket items are now
Lindor's been good.
Yeah, but the big-ticket items are gone.
Yep.
These are not big-ticket items in free agents.
Except for Bichette.
Yeah. Oh, he's
so worth it. The only problem is he maybe your second baseman instead of your shortstop because of the legs.
Well,
are you okay with that?
I only have my second baseman for a minimum. I have him if I want him for 2. I have him for sure for 1. Now, again, the problem is if you wanted to sign Bichette and you made him a second baseman now, That means you clear up, you trade Ozzie, you go with Dubon.
Yes.
Is that enough offense
I would do
to
that.
say, well, you're shortstop? Right. Is that enough offense to say your shortstop can be a guy who doesn't necessarily hit?
Yeah, just field.
We brought up Ronald Acuna. I hit Ronald leadoff if my 8 and 9 hole hitters look good enough to me where I think he gets
That's
RBI
exactly
production
right.
chances.
That's exactly
If
right.
my 8 and 9 doesn't, if it's a little bit slappy-ish, and I will tell you this, I know what he just said, who the pressure's on. He said Lopez, right? It started with the pressure's
he
on
said
Ronaldo
Lopez and Elder.
And Elder?
Yeah.
I think the pressure's on Austin Riley. I think the pressure's on Michael Harris. I think the pressure's on Profar. I think the pressure is on everybody offensively, Matt Olson, to be better offensively where I can live in a world where that's my shortstop.
If you get Bichette and you add him to what you already have,
It's over. Christmas is done.
I've
done all my Christmas
You still need the pitching.
You're not doing big ticket items. Twice.
No. You just need
So you're getting
innings.
a Verlander.
Innings. I need innings, not Verlander.
Or you're getting a Hope.
I'd rather the hope be the greatness, not the stability. I'd rather have a guy every 5 innings who gives me, with a better offense now and defense every day, a chance to give up 4 runs but win a game than hope on whether or not he's going to be healthy. Because they've had too much of that over the last couple of years.
I worry about any of them being healthy.
Well, of course.
But that's the difference.
Why worry? Don't worry, be happy. You said we're all, it's a loving day. We've got a lot to do. And Suarez is in for the Braves.